I'm not content with the content. I want more. I'm not content with the content. I want more.
No, for real. The thing that I would be more afraid of is like poison is like too far. Like I don't expect anyone to just poison a whole bunch of kids, but I would believe like someone putting razor blades in them just because they're fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you're not gonna. Well, I guess you could still kill somebody, but.
All right. Would you rather get a razor blade in your Reese's bar or a pack of raisins?
All right. Let's talk about how Reese's don't come in bars. So Zach, chill out with that Reese's bar bullshit.
They have the Reese's fast break bars.
Oh wow! Yeah, who gives those? Shut up.
No, I'm just laughing about the box of raisins. I
would much rather get a razor and a box of raisins so that I can cut my wrist after I got raisins.
Well, especially if it's a Reese's cup.
The raisins or the Reese's with the
If it's a Reese's cup, you know, I usually, the way I eat Reese's cups, I usually break it in half. Yeah. So chances are I'm going to see the razor blade. I can eat around it.
Wait, you break the Reese's cup in half?
Yeah, I just break it in half.
I just eat the whole thing, the wrapper and all.
Listen, I find it a challenge to put the entire
regardless, I'm throwing the raisins away. They're not being eaten, so... The real question is, would I eat a Reese's cup if it meant there was a razor blade? Yes, I would.
All right, welcome to Hooligan Radio, the podcast that covers everything about movies, video games, true crimes, cryptids, all in one here. To my left, I have the beautiful Isaiah.
Boo, I'm spooky this week.
Ooh, pretty spooky. And directly in front of me, I have the handsome Josh.
Hello, everybody. This is going to be a fun episode. I can already tell.
You're right. And who is talking right now is the amazing Zach. And let's just dive right into things already.
Well, first off, I want to congratulate Isaiah. In our last episode, we all pitched our ultimate Halloween party, and Isaiah's Super Mario Halloween party won the vote on Twitter. So congrats, Isaiah. You get nothing for this, but I hope you're happy.
Scared.
Yeah, dog. Goomba Juice wins it all every time.
People couldn't handle it.
Gotta get that Goomba Juice.
Yeah, it was a pretty overwhelming. I think you got about 44% of the vote, so it was a decisive victory. So good job to you.
Second?
I'm not sure. I'll look up the exact statistics here in a second, but yeah, congrats to you, Isaiah. Speaking of Super Mario Party came out.
Super Mario Party. I actually don't own it yet.
Oh, you don't own it yet?
Really rare. Yeah, I don't have friends who want to hang out and play video games with me anymore, so I just waited till Call of Duty. Now I have Call of Duty and I can play it by myself.
Well, I don't know if I ended up mentioning it last episode, but I did get a Switch, so I got Super Mario Party, and I think it's great. So we haven't played it a ton, so here's just a couple things I like about it compared to the last few. They went back to the traditional, you're on a board, you know, and everyone has their own turn. But they did a couple things that make it go by much quicker. Like the board is much smaller.
Oh, really?
And like a 10-turn game takes about 45 minutes, so that's what we've been doing, me and my girlfriend. And there's really cool additions like allies will drop around the board. So like Luigi will drop on the board, and when you go up to him, then he becomes your ally. Each character has their own special die. So every turn you can decide, do you want to roll the normal die, 1 through 6, or your character's special die. So there's a few really cool things that I like about it, and the mini games on the Switch are great. They're much less gimmicky than like the Wii mini games when those games were coming out, but they still do definitely use some of the Switch's abilities. So I'm having a ton of fun with it, but yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys get it.
I actually read a little bit about that, about the different how each player has their own unique die, but I just find it very funny how one-sided some of them are. Like, you can have someone with a real cool power, or you could be like Monty Mole, which is like, oh, instead of rolling a 1, you just get a single coin and you don't move.
Yeah, so they're pretty unbalanced. Like Wario's, you have like a 50% chance of rolling a 6, and then like Mario's, you have the 50% chance of rolling a 3. So it's like, but the thing is, you can get allies along the game, so you collect more dice as the game goes on.
And then I also saw that someone's special was just you're always guaranteed a 2. At least a 2 is what you're guaranteed.
Yeah, I think it's Daisy. Her whole die is just 2s and 3s. Or, no, it's 3s and 4s. It's like, the description's like, you'll most likely get a 3, maybe a 4.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting from an you got to think about it from the esports side, dude. With these different die, you have to know that each individual ally's die, because it's not always about moving the furthest.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about pinning yourself on the right side of a game for mini games. So, for example, if I'm playing 4 people and you guys like score all red, and I go blue, then I'm about to beat your ass in a 3v1.
Is Mario Party an esport?
Yeah, dog.
Like a legit esport thing?
No.
But
every game could become an esport at this point. The last time a Mario game came out, what was the Mario, like a real Mario Party game came out, what was the relevant esport? Exactly. There weren't one.
Yeah.
So you have to make it so that there is the ability to be. And I've seen the stats on all of the die, and all of them have a situational use. So if I wanted to move 2 squares, 3 squares, or whatever, I would use Daisy's die because I know for a fact I'm probably going to get 3.
Yeah, and it's funny with the allies because when me and my girlfriend first went into the game, there's like I think 15 characters and then there's 4 unlockables, and I was like, holy shit, there are so many characters. Like I was blown away. And then once we got in the game, we realized why, because like there's allies over the board. In our first game, by the time we finished, like everyone had 2 allies, so you have like almost all the characters in the game, on different teams. So it's pretty cool, and then you get to use the allies sometimes in your mini games as well. It's like just computers,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Back real quick to the Ultimate Halloween Party. I have the official result up. So Isaiah was 44%. I was in second.
I knew it.
With 28%. Then Zach 17%, and our guest Devin in last 11%. But another game came out as well.
Yes.
Would you argue a more important game, a bigger game?
I would argue a more important and bigger game. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has dropped, and I have not had a chance to play a lot of it. I was in Bowling Green over the weekend. We did a surprise thing for you guys that you'll get pretty soon. I'm very excited for. But it took away from my Black Ops 4 time, so I've played quite a bit of regular multiplayer. I only started to get into Blackout earlier today, but if you are looking to play Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and you're on PC, give me a tweet. I thought I had a brother in arms, but he betrayed me in the 11th hour and went PlayStation.
So you can't cross-platform at all with these? At least not yet? Oh, okay.
No, not yet.
Yeah, see, Zach won't even defend himself. Like, no,
at the end of the day, it was just like...
At the end of the day...
Which
we had a
console
verbal
can I play
agreement.
No, it was which console can I play with the most people?
Damn, this is getting cold. I'm moving on. Okay, so I got it as well on PS4. I'm kind of the same as you. I played Blackout just a little bit, mostly because I downloaded before multiplayer, and I really liked it. I really liked the Battle Royale, but for whatever reason, I think it's just the nostalgic Call of Duty player in me. I've spent almost all my time in multiplayer as well. I really love I think it's called Control game mode that they introduced.
The new one?
Yeah, I really like that. I've spent a lot of time in there, and I really like how they have the different people, but you don't have to unlock them. So anybody can be any person from level 1. I really like that.
They've added a couple of new game modes, which is really interesting. They added Control, which you just talked about, which is like headquarters and domination, kind of, where there are 2 control points. You have to hold it. I guess it's more like an Overwatch feel, where you have to hold the control point. Each tick it can't go back for. And you have to do that for 2 different control points that are active at the same time on the map. Really cool game mode, limited amount of lives, which is interesting because then you can get flamed pretty hard for feeding. By feeding, I mean dying a lot, because you don't really feed in this game. I guess you feed in MOBAs, but whatever. Heist is like kind of like a search and destroy, where like there's a thing, it's a bag of money you have to get, then you have to extract with it. I don't even know if they have actual search and destroy.
They do, and it took me a while to even find the regular game modes, because like the way it's laid out when you first go in, it just showed the new ones, at least for me.
Yeah.
And I went in and I'm like, is this all they have? Like I was so confused. And then finally I found the core menu where they had all the regular game modes, and I'm like, oh okay. So all I've played is Control and Team Deathmatch.
And there's a bunch of different specialists, and they all have different equipment, and I call them supers, but that's only because that's what they're called in every other game. I don't know what they're called in this game. But each super is like exceptionally different from the other ones. Like, there's a guy, he gets a dog, which is
the canine,
insane.
yeah.
There's another guy who, like, puts down barriers and wire and
Yeah,
stuff
the barbed
like that.
wire, yeah.
But I mostly play Ruin, which is the guy who just comes in and just slams on the ground and kills everybody in a circle. And I normally only kill one person, but that guy's an asshole.
Is he the guy with
But that one
the...
person's dead.
Is that the guy with the grapple gun also?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I love using him. You just fly across the
Yeah, I'm just Spider-Man around, and then I see one guy, and I'm like, boom!
Yeah, and I think they do a really good job of the characters, like, having their own roles on the team.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely have some characters who are more of a support role, and some who are more of, like I use the flamethrower guy, I think his name's Firebreaker,
Yeah.
I think. He's definitely more of just, like, a, assault type person.
Yeah, I think the game is really good. I haven't had any real problems. I am notorious for getting exactly one kill in solos in Blackout and then dying. So I've played 4 games, and that's exactly what's happened every time.
I only played 2 games. My first one I came in second place, got like 4 kills, and I'm like, am I going to be good at this? And then the second game just got killed immediately.
See, that's better than how I did my first game. I accidentally switched seats in the helicopter and watched myself just plummet to the ground.
How do you get in the helicopter? Where
just
is
find
that?
it.
It's just sitting
You
around?
just gotta find
I
it.
just looked up.
I found one at the farm.
I remember just running around in my first game and just hearing it like above me, and I'm like, is someone in a fucking helicopter?
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if I can get into this. I was like, oh, a minute.
Yeah, Zach. I was there when Zach played his first game, and he was like, so, like, how do you get out? And then I was like, I don't know. And then he hit a button, and he switched to, like, a passenger seat. And he's like, oh, shit. And then, in the time that he switched from, the passenger seat he was in, he had to go 3 more seats to get back in the driver's seat. And by the time he got back in the driver's seat, you just saw 2 frames of him just slamming into the mountain and just dying. They were like, damn it, Zach.
One thing I'll say is kind of a positive and negative. With the Blackout mode is that, because I play Call of Duty with my girlfriend, it's actually, you can do split screen in the Battle Royale mode, which I did not expect.
You hear that, Nova?
Obviously, you have to do duos or...
Yeah,
I like that they call it
that's cool.
quads. They call the squads with quads.
Duos and quads.
But you can tell it, maybe because it's just new, but you can tell the mode is not made for split screen. Like, I have a pretty large TV, and you can't read
can't see
anything if it's
yeah.
on split screen. I'm like, what level armor is this? Like, I was afraid to pick anything up. So, but it is cool that you can do it, because that,
At least they tried.
yeah. And who knows, maybe they'll fix it. It's not like World War II that came out last year where the game was broken when it was released, so...
Does it do the split screen like horizontal or vertically?
Horizontal, up and
Okay.
top and bottom, yeah. Same as with multiplayer. But
Okay.
multiplayer is at least, the stuff is big enough so you can see it.
Yeah.
But when you're going to try to pick an item off the ground and it just says it right above the item and you're like, what is this? And then you guys, tell me about this hunt game you guys were playing.
Yeah, so Zach and I started playing a different Battle Royale game, which isn't really all that Battle Royale, but it kind of is. And it is the fucking shit.
It's so good.
A couple of the people who listen to this watched my stream, but... So it's kind of like a Battle Royale. It's way spookier than any of the other Battle Royales I've played, but you hop into this world as a hunter, and you have to find a monster that is in the world by going to different locations and finding clues on where that monster will be. And then once you find the monster, you have to kill the monster, banish the monster to hell, and then take the bounty from the banished monster and leave the map with it. The interesting thing is, when you start to banish the monster to hell, it alerts everybody on the map where you're doing that at. Everybody... We actually don't know how many people is everybody.
Yeah, we must have played at least 20 games and we still don't know how many people are actually starting.
Sometimes we're like, oh no, we're pinned by 3 squads. And sometimes we're like, I don't think anybody was in that game.
We haven't seen
We
this
should
for
have just
15
kept
minutes.
playing. Yeah. But, yeah. And it's really weird. So, like, it has this thing where your hunter, if that hunter dies, the equipment and all of their stuff that they had on them goes with them. So you have to hire a new hunter, which I thought was going to be shitty, but you don't ever loot like guns and bring them with you out. You just start with them, so you can hire hunters that have the same guns as the guy that you had before. But Zach and I don't know, did our good characters die?
Mine has still not died yet.
Mine has also still not died then, because Zach and I have these characters that we get nervous about playing because they've lived like 3 games or 4 games at this point. and we're like, should we play our good ones or should we just hire a shitty one because we're not feeling it?
So you can actually take these characters across multiple games.
Yep.
But then once they die, they're gone.
Yeah,
they're gone.
Wow.
So
Okay.
in order to survive, you have to get out, and you can leave at any point. But
Mm-hmm.
you only get a certain good rewards if you do.
Like kill so many enemies, banish so many of the main, because there's 2 main creatures per map. So if you try to go for one of those, or if you kill another player and try to loot them, or try to take a bounty that you get.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think I didn't touch on. There are all their other monsters on the map. So there are zombies, there are hellhounds. There are different kinds of zombies.
Yeah, it's similar to almost how Left 4 Dead. So there's the big armor bruiser ones. There's the ones that hit from afar with a swarm and make it so you can't see very well.
And are those just NPCs or are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's cool.
They're
Yeah, because
pretty spooky
I watched your guys' stream of you two playing it for a few minutes. I think I didn't see you killing any actual players, but I did see you guys killing a bunch of zombies and stuff. So I didn't know what the game was, but it did look pretty cool.
The map is the map isn't huge from what I can tell, but it's just big enough where if you're on the opposite side of the map, you can't hear somebody shooting. But if you're any closer than that, you can be I heard some people shooting, but I'm not positive on where it was from. So that's part of the reason why Zach and I are was anybody in that game, or was it just us?
But it's also super detailed to where there's environmental cues that could also go off, such as if you walk through an area that has a bunch of birds nearby and they come up, or if they hear a shot, they'll go from trees. So all these environmental cues can also give off that someone's in the area. One time me and Isaiah were waiting for someone to be banished, and we just heard dogs barking outside someone was approaching, and it ended up being a couple other players coming in trying to get the banished thing.
They killed
That's
us.
pretty.
Yeah, they
Oh.
killed us.
But I think one of our first 3 games, I got a double kill with a machete. So
Yeah, that was
let's
worth it.
be real. They killed Zach, and I just ran in there and it was yeah, yeah, ah! Yeah. But that game is incredible.
8 out of 10 would recommend.
Whenever I'm done with my Call of Duty, which who knows when that will be.
April, May.
Maybe next September. I will be streaming that in between, probably, if Zach ever wants to play it. That game is terrifying by yourself, so I'm not going to do it by myself. I will cry on stream, but if Zach ever wants to play, we'll probably play.
So, we've all been pretty vocal about Venom on this podcast in the last few episodes. We all had our doubts, and I don't think any of us saw the movie. Is that right?
That is correct for me.
I probably won't. Still.
I saw it was the most unique movie currently out, which I'm pretty sure that's the nice way of saying it's not good.
So, it's interesting because critically, the reviews came out a few days before the movie comes out, like usual, and not great at all. I think the Rotten Tomatoes score was in the 30 percentile. Not great critically. It was still always going to be number 1 at the box office that weekend because it's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But it came out, people were expecting around 50 million, and it did over 80 million, making it the biggest opening in October ever. Which you think 80 million, the movie's not open in October? Apparently not. So, biggest October opening, and then this past week was the true test, because now it's going up against other movies. And it held really well, 55% decrease, which for a movie second weekend is really good. And it was still number 1 in its second week. So it's already worldwide made almost $400 million on a $100 million budget. So Sony's pretty happy. But to top that all off, because terrible movies make money all the time and people hate it, but people don't hate this movie. The audience scores are, doing really well. It seems to be one of those movies that critics don't like and audiences love.
Venom is one of those people like Deadpool where anybody could have been we're making a Venom movie, and everybody would go and see it. It's interesting to me that audiences enjoy it. I think that it's hard to not love. It's Tom Hardy, right? That's his name?
Tom Hardy, yeah. Which, from what I hear from critically, that's the one thing where all the critics are saying the one good thing about this movie is Tom Hardy.
Exactly.
That's what they're all saying. So.
And I'm going to guess that the people there that are... I would say that there's a vast majority of people that are there that are seeing it because it's Tom Hardy, and the other part is seeing it because it's Venom.
Yeah.
So whenever you ask an audience that is there for those two things, if those two things are what they do well, then...
Yeah, it's funny with Tom Hardy because he... what really sold me on not seeing this movie was a few days before it was released, Tom Hardy had an interview where they said, what was your favorite part of this movie, favorite scene or whatever? And I guess Tom Hardy actually did a lot of improv, was allowed to do a lot of improv in the movie. And he said, well, all my favorite stuff got cut out of the movie. So I'm thinking to myself, like, that's not good. So, but like I said, people are still liking his performance in the movie. But I just thought, that's what, officially, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, I'm not seeing this.
This is definitely one I'm probably going to only be renting or streaming. I can't pull myself to go spend the money to see this.
and then from one controversial movie to another, James Gunn, who we've also talked about a lot because of the controversy with being fired from Disney and Marvel and Guardians 3, was hired by DC and Warner Brothers to write Suicide Squad 2 and also possibly direct Suicide Squad 2. So what do you guys think about that?
I like the move. I think this is what Suicide Squad 2 needs to pretty much come out and be like, all right, the first one was a pretty big disappointment. We need someone to come in here and just bring this back to life, and I think they chose good.
Do you think that they're going to get Batista?
Yeah, that's another interesting point. I don't know what's going on with Batista. Like, the way he's talking, it makes it seem like they've completely written him out of the MCU, right? Like, that's just the way he's acting, is that, like, they, during the reshoots of Avengers 4, killed him or something. Because he's completely like, oh, I'm in, sign me up. And it's like, you wouldn't be doing, regardless of how he feels, you wouldn't be doing that if you still were contracted to do movies with Disney, you would think, anyway.
Or want to continue to do movies.
Yeah, but he clearly does not, and that's more power to him. I'm still not excited. I have no idea. What is the movie? There's no details about it. Are they keeping the same cast? No one knows, so we'll see, but I like the move, because clearly Suicide Squad, the first one, was trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, essentially, with the tone, and they just did not, they failed, so hopefully if they get the guy that made that, they can successfully...
We can't miss this one.
Alright, and then let's just talk about some movie trailers. So we haven't done this in a little while, but there have been a whole bunch of trailers that have come out. What is the first one you guys think has stuck out to you the most?
Glass.
We should talk about Glass, because that's going to be one hell of a movie.
So, what's his name? What's the...
Which one? The guy
Not the guy with split personalities.
Bruce Willis?
Yeah, what is Bruce... Is Bruce Willis's character...
He's unbreakable. So, like, he can, like, bend metal and shit.
Yeah,
strong.
But in the second trailer, it seems like he's going against the other two.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I still don't fully understand what's happening detailed on in the trailer.
It seems like they're stuck in this, whatever this facility is, all three of them, and they all want to get out, but Bruce Willis is kind of like, you're evil, you shouldn't get out, but I should get out.
Yeah, like, you two need to stay in here, but I should be the one that leaves.
Yeah. I do think it would ultimately end up being James McAvoy and Sam Jackson, right?
Yeah,
Sam Jackson against Bruce Willis. It probably makes no sense, but
we'll see. I was thinking that they were all three. I keep getting this vibe that it's like M. Night Shyamalan read enough X-Men comics to make his own version of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting from this movie. I'm like, wait, this could be the first like few good movies of an X-Men series.
Yeah.
And then he's just Professor X.
What if
M. Night comes in as Professor X?
Who's doing those movies? Like,
X-Men?
Who's producing them?
Or Glass?
Yeah.
Well, it's M. Night Shyamalan is the director. It's his movie. He made Unbreakable, which is the first one back in like 2000, and then he made Split, and now he's making this. The actual studio I can't think of off the top of my head. I'm really excited. Sarah Paulson is also in it from American Horror Story, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be really good.
And it comes out in January, which would usually scare me, because January is Hollywood's dumping ground, but Split came out in January, and Split was really good, so hopefully that continues. What about the Sabrina trailer, Zach? I hear you have some mixed feelings on it.
I'm just not a Sabrina guy.
You didn't growing up watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
I did.
Melissa Joan Hart? Come on, Zach!
No, I did. I'm just like, why is this cat talking? Like, this isn't real. And I was just immediately...
This isn't real.
Yeah.
Then he turned around, got on his parents' computer, and looked up Bigfoot for 4 years.
Yeah. But don't blame me. That Monster Press found one time, and I was just like, that's real.
What do you think, Isaiah?
I'm pumped for it. I think it looks really sweet. Isn't it a Netflix original, too?
Yeah,
so,
like, therefore it's good.
Therefore it's good, yeah. If it's Netflix or Disney, it's good. So,
do either of you guys, have you ever seen Riverdale? And if you have, what are your thoughts?
I've only seen, like, the first couple episodes of season 1, and I want to continue it. I think it's really good. I know Alyssa's really big into it. Like, she's keeping up with it, and she says it gets really crazy.
Yeah, because the people who made that are making this. Yeah. And I haven't seen Riverdale. I know it has Cole Sprouse in it, so I want to watch it. But I feel like from what I hear, it's one of those shows where you either love it or you hate it. It seems so. I haven't watched it. It's been sitting on my Netflix watch list.
I think it's called Twin Peaks. That old show. It like has that vibe to it.
Okay.
My thing about it is my sister watches it. She watches it like
we're talking about Riverdale.
Yeah. When it comes out, and it just seems like the pre-soap opera for girls who are susceptible to soap operas in their future. Like, I'm watching it, and I was like, why is this so dramatic? Like, that's a scene that shouldn't have been dramatic. It's just not shot like a soap opera. If you changed the filming direction and however they shoot soap operas, where it's like, this person's face, it would have been a soap opera.
Well, it's on what, the CW?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that every cable show, though? It's like a soap opera.
And they just do not care that they're
multicam, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. But this is
a single cam sitcom.
Yeah. If this was also coming out at CW, I probably wouldn't be as interested. But it's kind of like what you said, because it's a Netflix original. It's like I have more faith in it, even though there's plenty of shit that Netflix puts out. But it's mostly good.
It's fine.
They usually don't hype up their shit though.
It's at least watch.
And then the other trailer I wanted to bring up real quick was a trailer for Vice, which is coming out.
I'm so excited.
For those who haven't seen it, Christian Bale, the old Batman, is playing Dick Cheney. It looks basically like a biopic on Dick Cheney, and I guess Christian Bale gained over 50 pounds for the role, so he's already like getting Oscar buzz due to that, because the Academy loves when an actor goes through a body transformation. Gary Oldman won the award last year for getting really fat to play Winston Churchill.
That's awesome.
Although I think that was mostly makeup, I think Christian Bale really did gain a whole bunch of weight for this, even though he's wearing makeup as well. But the movie also has Steve Carell, Sam Rockwell is playing George Bush, and then Amy Adams, who's my favorite actress, is playing Dick Cheney's wife. The trailer looks like it could be really good. I know nothing about Dick Cheney, so I know he shot a guy.
It looks very dramatic, but I am interested. It's a star-studded cast. Like, watching it, I was like, what the hell? Steve Carell's in this too?
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no interest in Dick Cheney except for the fact that he profited on 9/11.
Yes.
But I saw this movie and I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. This is crazy. And then like they showed like Washington D.C. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Okay, I'm in. You got me. And then I put it in our group chat, and Josh was like, yeah, he did all this stuff. And I was like, well, Batman, the good Batman is in there.
And it's made by Adam McKay, who made Step Brothers, I believe.
Oh, really?
But he also made The Big Short, which came out a few years ago, 2015. Also had Christian Bale and also had Steve Carell.
That was really
good. It was about the bank, the stock market crash in 2008. And I loved that movie. So if it's anything like that, I'm sure I'll really like this one.
I'm pumped. Last but not least, trailer. The Rocket Man trailer has finally come in front of me, and I'm pumped. I'm so excited.
So you a big Elton John fan?
Yeah, there's a lot of songs by Elton John I'm a big fan of, but like, I'm huge into these movies that are about to be coming out that are about music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the musical artists that I actually know.
Like Queen, that movie looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's called Bohemian
Rhapsody.
Like
I just think it's really funny that the guy who's playing Elton John is Taron Egerton from the Kingsman movies, and Elton John was in the second Kingsman movie playing himself.
Really?
Yeah, he played himself.
Awesome.
Because like the villain in the second Kingsman movie has like her own island, like evil, island, and she like has kidnapped Elton John to just play piano for her. So I just thought that was a really funny connection.
That's awesome.
That is really good.
See it, rent it, stream it.
Hey!
We need to get a theme for that.
I got you. I'll hit up a guy. I know a guy. He'll give you the sweet sauce.
So, I really tried, but I was not able to see First Man this past weekend. Just had too much going on. So
I thought you were going to say it sold out. I was like, damn.
No. It did not sell out. It did not do well at the box office. Well, it came in third. But I did see A Star Is Born last week. The movie with Bradley Cooper is his first time directing a movie, and he stars in it. It stars Lady Gaga as well. Basically, the plot of the movie is Bradley Cooper is an aging country rock artist, discovers Lady Gaga at a drag bar, and they get into a relationship, and he kind of propels her into becoming a star. And I liked it. I think there's a lot of hype on it right now. Like, people are saying like, oh, Bradley Cooper for Best Director and Lady Gaga for Best Actress, for the Oscars. And Lady Gaga was very good. I was surprised. I've only seen her in a couple of things acting-wise, but acting-wise I thought she did really, really well. Not only that, but her performances in the movie, because it's not like a musical where people break out into song and dance, but there are a lot of concerts in the movie, and her performances were musically the most impressed I've ever been with her. So those were really good. The one thing I liked about it was that whenever they did like a concert, it tried to show you how it would sound and how it would feel from being on the stage rather than being in the crowd.
Yeah.
How many times did she sing Bad Romance in the movie?
Shut up.
17 times.
But so A Star Is Born, would you recommend people to see it?
So what I would say
For
is
real.
I would recommend it if you're into watching a drama, because that's what it is. It is a straight drama. It is depressing and emotional, and that was my biggest problem with the movie. Is the movie is over 2 hours, but so much happens that it didn't even feel like I knew what was going on. Like, it's one of those movies where it's like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, like,
Yeah.
where are we? Has it been a year? But it is very emotional. There's a lot of very sad stuff that happens. Bradley Cooper's character deals with alcoholism and drug abuse and all those types of things. So if you're into watching a drama and you're in that mood, I recommend it. But if you're not, like, I could see both of you seeing it in theaters and having no interest in it, because I had very little interest in it outside of just appreciating like the cinematic,
value of it.
value of it. Moving on to Rent It, Ant-Man and the Wasp was coming out, so if you didn't see that, listen, if you wanted to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, you've already seen it.
Have you seen the first one? You don't need to see the second one. There's just a wasp now. It's done.
Yeah, but the villain's kind of hot. I don't know what her name is.
But
Her, yeah.
she's like in there. She's like not even like a big part of the movie though, which pissed me off. She was,
then I'm not going to see it.
She was
I'll
just
just
like
watch it on YouTube.
like you would think she would be like the main antagonist, I guess, which technically she is, but like
Not really.
for a lot of the movie, she's just a side note. That's just like a lot of weird things are going on. Oh, you're
Yeah.
here.
The main villain is the guy from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a guy in a suit who wants technology.
I love technology.
I'm gonna sell it. No, but yeah, it's a Marvel movie. And then, but one that I missed in theaters that I want to rent is Hotel Artemis.
Oh, shit. It's
So-
out now to rent?
Yes, so it has Dave Bautista. Have you guys seen the John Wick movies?
I know what John Wick's about.
That's from Fortnite. I have seen the John Wick movies.
So he's in a hotel and there's rules in the hotel. So this is kind of similar.
Yeah.
It's a hotel for criminals to go to, and you're not allowed to kill anybody or do anything shady at this hotel where you go. And I haven't seen the movie, but I assume someone breaks those rules. So.
Yeah, it looks like somebody broke those rules if that was the rules.
So I want to check. Alex saw it; he liked it, so I definitely want to check that one out since I missed it. And then for Stream It, couple things I wanted to bring up. One is a Hulu show called Into the Dark.
Okay.
I haven't watched it. The only reason I want to bring it up is because of the concept I felt was very interesting. It's going to be a 12-episode series, but they're releasing one. It's an anthology show. Each episode's different, and they're releasing an episode once a month. So they're calling it like the Year of Horror or something like that, where each month it's based off the holiday that's in that month.
Oh,
so the
really?
first episode is based
What?
off of Halloween. Next month will be Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, New Year, go on and on. But it's a horror show, so similar to Black Mirror or Twilight Zone, I would assume. The first one, I believe, is about a serial killer at a Halloween
How long
party.
are the
That
episodes?
sounds really cool.
I think they're an hour each.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it seems really... I haven't checked out the first episode yet. I think it's out on Hulu, but it seems like a really cool concept. I just thought it was cool because it's like, you think about all the different ways TV shows have been released. This is like the one way it hasn't. Like, one new episode a
That
month
sounds
for a year.
Yeah.
Awful.
But I'd rather have that than, like, 'cause we all know, I'm pretty sure all of us here are a big fan of Black Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just getting like 4 or 5 episodes at once, like if I can get like multiple episodes of longer over time, I'd rather do that.
Yeah,
My problem is, from one month to the next, I'll forget it exists.
that's
so,
true. That's true, too.
Like,
But then once a month, then like once a year, you're like, wow, I have 12 new episodes.
Or it would really suck to wait a whole month and the next episode isn't that great. And you're
Yeah.
like, I just waited a whole month for this shit.
Yeah.
and now I gotta wait for a whole month again to find out if it's gonna suck more
The-
or if I should just abandon this.
Yeah, the one thing with Black Mirror is it takes forever for them to make more, but they're almost all good. Like, there's only like a
They're-
few that aren't that great.
They've got the production quality of a movie each episode. It's insane that they release it like once a year,
Yeah.
and they're like, what, almost an hour and a half a piece. They're what movies used to be.
Yeah.
And they do, what, 6?
Like
Almost?
5 or 6.
Yeah, about 5 or
Within a
6.
year. So they release 6, basically, movies
Yeah.
within a year.
Mm-hmm.
And they all have comprehensible plots within
Yeah.
them. Most of them, at least. The one where the guy fucks a pig or whatever is questionable.
Well, that was the original episode.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
first episode ever, wasn't it?
What's your favorite Black Mirror episode?
I don't know if I can say favorite episode, but the one that gave me the most lasting impression was the one where their prison term is pretty much reliving the events that they caused.
White Bear?
Yes.
Yeah, where she kidnapped a kid or something.
Yeah.
So, and everyone's like watching them.
Yeah, at the end of that episode, I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't be alone right now.
What about you, Isaiah?
I'm gonna have to go with 15 Million Merits. The one where they're like,
With the guy from Get Out?
yep, that's the one where they like have to do things.
Oh, the game one, like
Yeah.
like they ride the bike to get points.
Yeah.
And they go on the game show, and then they turn the girl into a porn star, and that pisses
that
off.
one was really fun.
Yeah, that pisses off Daniel Kaluuya, so then he like freaks out and like gonna kill
I
himself.
would
on the
say
show.
that White Bear, that one, and Playtest are like my top
Playtest
tier.
Was that the haunted visual VR sort of one?
Yeah, and then but those are all like my interests. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, what if society sucks? But the one where her phone, like you get like rated on your person.
Oh yeah, with Bryce Dallas Howard, Nosedive, I think
She
it's called. Yeah,
killed that. That was so good.
yeah. My favorite is USS Callister, the Star Trek one by far.
They're all good. I think they're all good.
I'm not even a Star Trek fan.
And it's time for Spooky Game Corner. So to get y'all spooksters in the mood, I'm gonna come up with a few games you could play right now that are pretty terrifying. I mean, there's tons of games that are scary, but these are like the ones that I've played and have actually probably given me sleep problems and all that kind of stuff. We'll start out with the first one that Zach and I ever played together. Amnesia.
Josh was there with us.
Oh yeah, that was
Josh broke my headset when we played it. What do you mean? You threw it against the computer screen.
But it still worked.
Let's go back to what Isaiah was saying.
Yeah. So we were playing a game called Amnesia: The Dark Descent. The Dark Descent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brought to us on Twitter by Scott, our buddy Scott. He was also there when we played it.
Mm-hmm.
Game is terrifying. The thing about the game is you have no way to defend yourself, which kind of sounds lame, but is really cool. So it's kind of like a puzzle horror game. You gotta like find different things in order to do different things.
To survive.
But then there's like regions of the game that are just terrifying in themselves, like the water part.
Yeah, or the environments that just like pop or like steam at times to get you off guard.
Yeah. And then the monster is just scary. We had a phrase we used to say, it was called Red Red Dead, where if the thing hit you twice, you died.
You're dead.
But I actively remember us trying to play it in Zach's loft, and we'd like put the headset on and we'd go to play it, and then just like be fucking shaking so that the screen wouldn't stay still because we're like shaking the mouse and we're like shaking the keyboard. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that one's pretty cheap. You can find that on Steam.
You can always find that on sale usually around this time. There's a second one too.
I don't know if the second one's any good, but the first one was pretty good. I don't know if it's on any of the consoles, but I know you can find it on Steam for sure.
I know for a fact it's at least on the PlayStation Store.
There you go.
I didn't play the game a ton, other than when I was at your house, Zach, and I apparently broke your headphones. I apologize for that. I'm still paying back a lot of debts that I caused in high school. So
It was worth it, man. What you bought the climb that night.
It's okay, Zach.
it was that night.
It was that night.
Okay,
times.
man. Anyway, all right, we can talk about that for hours. So I haven't played it a ton, but before like streaming was like really big, wasn't that one of the first games that like people were like playing like? Because I remember seeing a lot of people on YouTube playing Amnesia and like screaming and everything.
They always have like the reaction videos to like watch his reaction to playing Amnesia.
That gives me an interesting transition. A game that I've never played but only have seen played on YouTube is called Sonic EXE. The lore behind it is, I think it's a creepypasta, but whatever, it's awesome. There is a haunted version of Sonic that is out there that you can torrent, and like as you play through it, the game gets more and more distorted, and then eventually like Sonic like his face is like melted and his eyes are like, it's crazy. If you look up Sonic EXE, you'll get the gist of what I'm talking about.
I'm going to right now.
I'm looking this up right now.
It's intense. I've watched a couple people play through it. I've never played through it myself, but it eventually boils down. It's really terrifying. So you should check that out. At least just watch a video on it. It's pretty intense. Another game, since I can get kind of out of the YouTube sphere, a game that I've played a few times, Dead by Daylight. That is a game that a lot of people have told me about is really good. Basically in the game, it's kind of like what Evolve wanted to be. If you guys don't know what Evolve is, there's this new game style where one person is like the big bad and the other 4 or 5 people are trying to either escape the big bad or beat the big bad or whatever. In this game, you get to play as like a serial killer or a monster or whatever, hunting down these 5 survivors. And the survivors have to turn on these generators so that they can eventually escape. I've only played one of. There's multiple characters and there's DLC characters they all do different things. The one that I've played is the Trapper. He puts down like bear traps, and then the survivors get caught in them. And then I've only played as a monster. I don't know what it's like to be a survivor. You like slash at these guys, and if you slash somebody twice, you can pick them up and put them on a hook, and it just gruesome noises the whole time. It's insane. And then there's like this beast that I guess like yearns for your killing or whatever. I don't know. Lore stuff I don't know because I don't know in the game. And it like starts to consume them, and then the other survivors can like knock them off the hook so that person doesn't get consumed or whatever. But then you can eventually eliminate all of the survivors to win as the hunter. Or if you're the survivor, you escape. But it's really terrifying. You're just like, I gotta fix this generator, and then you see a guy who looks like Michael Myers or something, just like running at you with a machete, and you're like, oh fuck! But a lot of people I know play it and say it's pretty great. A couple of the guys at American Spirits have told me it's pretty good too. So, I mean, if you're looking for a spooky game that's kind of like I'm playing a slasher film game, that would be your best bet. Last but not least, I don't remember, I think it was with you, Josh, I don't know. We used to play a game called Manhunt on the Wii.
I remember it being on the PS2.
It was on the PS2. I think Manhunt 2 was on the Wii. I only bring this up because it was the first M-rated game allowed to be on the Wii.
Oh, wow.
So if you're still rocking the Wii, and I know people are, there are spooky games for you. That game was gruesome. It earned its M rating. Like, I think that they found out that they were going to get an M rating, and they just went, what is the closest thing to A rating we could get without going that far? And that game was intense. I remember it being very spooky, but I could have also been very young.
That's true too. I was just thinking that, but this video game cover, you can't
scary.
See it. Just look up the Manhunt video game cover.
Is this the same game we're talking about, though?
This is what I'm talking about.
I don't know if that's on the Wii.
No, he's
Manhunt
saying
2. I think
he's saying Manhunt 2.
Oh, okay.
But this original Manhunt on the PS2, if you look up the cover, this thing haunted my dreams for years.
I honestly can't. I don't remember this game at all. I don't know if I've ever played this one.
And then this is the cover of Manhunt 2. If you look at Manhunt 2, it's equally as terrifying. It's like just close up on a guy's eye who looks like he's about to die.
I do remember that as well.
But that game was intense. I couldn't even tell you what the story was. It's been a long time, but I like to bring up something that everybody can play. That's really it, I guess. I mean, we already talked about Hunt, and if you want to play Hunt or you want to watch Hunt, we're going to be the best place to do it, because I'm a little bitch. So scary shit gets me all the time.
If you want to see us scream, you're listening to the right people.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
So this week, what I'm bringing to you guys for the creepy, mystery, true stuff is we're going to dive back into the true crime area, because we haven't touched that for a while. I think the last time we actually brought it up was maybe when we talked about the Cleveland torso killer. Might have been the last one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It's been a long time, so I thought let's bring in some true crime stories that actually happened on Halloween or around Halloween. The first one we're going to start off with is the typical razor blades in your candy, poison in your candy story that we've been hearing from our parents since day one of going trick or treating.
Yeah.
Always check your candy.
Razor blades taste the best.
Yeah. Sometimes they do.
Yeah, I mean, my question with that is that we talked about this a little bit. I've always thought this was a myth. I didn't think, even when I was a kid, I didn't take it seriously. Like, I didn't think it ever actually happened.
No, it's one of those things where it happened once and it just blew up. So the story behind it all is an 8-year-old named Timothy O'Brien was actually poisoned by his father through a pixie stick that his father put cyanide into to kill him to gather life insurance money from him. He actually did it to his entire family of children, but only one ate it during that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was within the hour of him eating it, he started convulsing really bad and died at the home. And after he was rushed to the hospital, they realized it was some sort of poisoning, and through like looking through his candy, looking through what he's eaten, they discovered it was through the pixie sticks. Which, first off, you have to open the pixie stick, put it in there, and then wrap it back up or like staple it together.
Yeah. I mean, you could try to poke a hole, I guess.
You could make it into a liquid and soak. Well, I'm not going to talk about how to poison.
We're not going to talk about how to poison your kids, but
so you did it for the life insurance money, and did he confess, or how did they figure out it was him?
Pretty much, after like looking through his kid's candy, he was found. They found out that it was because of the candy that he gave, because he also gave it to his kids. So they were able to look back and see like, oh, where did you get these pieces of candy from? Oh, Dad gave me us this. Like, oh, your dad killed your brother, sort of thing. But he was actually found guilty of murder of it. He was sentenced to death, and he was actually executed in 1984 for the murder and the attempted murder of his kids.
So really, the only time it's reported to actually have happened, it was someone doing it to their own child, not other kids.
Yes.
All right, let's cut to the brass tacks, though. Personally, why would you go for the pixie stick? I'm saying, if you want to kill me as a kid, you hit those Reese cups.
But it's all right. How? All right. This is
wait,
all
let's
satire.
Let's go.
How would you poison a Reese cup?
All right, this is how you poison a Reese cup. First of all, they got the easiest wrappers. You just kind of undo the bottom part, right, and all glues on the bottom. Just do it and re-glue it. It's easy.
All right, so go on to a second one that we can talk about. Another one that's a little bit more known. We'll cover the murder of Martha Moxley.
Okay.
Well, so this happened in actually 1975, the night before Halloween, which I know
70s.
I know it's been called a bunch of different names, but at least in Cleveland, isn't it called like Hell Night or Mischief Night or something like that for Halloween?
The night before Halloween?
Yeah. It's like
Halloween Eve.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like the night that everyone goes out and just goes crazy.
Yeah. I've done some stuff on the Mischief Night before Halloween.
But regardless, she was out on Mischief Night. She's from Connecticut, teenager. She left her house to attend a neighborhood party in the area. Unfortunately, the following morning, her body was found beneath a tree in a backyard, brutally beaten up. Lying a little bit farther out was a golf club that was used to beat her to death. It was actually 25 years went by before there was like really anyone like convicted of this or like brought up into this until police started looking to Michael Scale, S-K-A-K-E-L, who was actually only 15 at the time of the murder. He was arrested, charged with it, convicted of the murder. This case got a lot of worldwide attention, mainly because he's the nephew of Robert F. Kennedy's widow.
Oh, wow.
So just bringing it all into the politics of it. His family, of course, was from wealth, so they started getting a lot of conspiracies started coming in with, are they working with the police in the area just to like help put this under the rug so they can keep the family name going. Unfortunately, what actually ended up happening is he got a new trial due to misconduct in 2012 during the entire trial. He's actually currently out on bail and he's waiting for a new trial, but he's still actually being charged with the murder, but still up in the air if it's going to be going.
Yeah, he's going to trial.
Looking into it, there's actually 2 other people, I can't remember their names, that were brought in and started being asked a lot of questions about the murder, was actually like supposedly the lead suspects for the murder, solely because they're African American and the neighborhood they're in is very like heavily white. It's actually a gated community that she was found at and that she was murdered in. So solely because they were there, they were brought in as like contact. What's the word? Suspects and everything. But that got out after. I'm pretty sure they had an alibi of like another location they were at during the murders and everything.
So that's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what it would be like. Because I was 15 running around on Mischief Night, just like TPing houses and being an asshole.
Yeah.
But, like...
But you didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, you never took a golf club to somebody.
I couldn't imagine getting killed on that night. The rest of everybody out there, like, what do you mean? But then again, I guess, like, fuck, everybody's an asshole, so...
So we'll just do one more since we're getting a little bit close on time. We'll actually do a quick unsolved one. That's a little bit more recent, a little bit closer to the 2000s instead of 1975. We'll go over the disappearance of Cindy Song. Cindy Song was a Penn State grad student. She actually disappeared after leaving a Halloween party in 2001. She went out with two of her friends. After going to a bar where they were dressed up, they actually went out. She went over to a friend's house to play some video games for a while. She left with her friends in a cab. They were dropped her off at her apartment building. Saw her waving goodbye, drove away, and after that she was never seen again. Just completely vanished off the face of the earth almost. No one's heard from her, no trace of the body, no like cell phone interactions or anything like that. Started doing a little case went unsolved for a while. Still unsolved. One leading theory on what's going on here is, or one person who's mainly in the investigation is a man named Hugo Marcus Selensky. He was actually arrested for murdering a lot of people in his backyard. So there's at least already been 5 corpses found in his backyard and identified. There's other corpses back there that have yet to be identified, which they think one of them might be Cindy, or at least he might be connected to Cindy somehow. Mainly because someone who was helping with him, or like one of his, what's the word? Accomplices, thank you. Alleged said they kidnapped, raped, and murdered her that night. But still no evidence. They think it could just be like trying to get, like, hey, we did this murder too, we're famous sort of thing. So until they actually have the evidence, they're not really going to be charging them with that.
Alright, so before we end this episode, there is one more thing we're going to talk about. Our next episode is going to come out on Halloween, October 31st.
Yeah, dog, so get your Goomba juice ready, because we're coming in hot on the spooky night.
So we are planning this episode to be our biggest episode yet. Halloween Spectacular. We have a whole bunch of stuff lined up. So we're going to have Alex Daniels back on the podcast.
Alex Daniels!
I've been talking about it a lot, but if you are unaware, me and Alex have reviewed every Halloween movie that has come out on our YouTube channels the past couple of months. And we're going to be seeing Halloween. It comes out this week. The new Halloween movie. All 4 of us are going to be seeing it. And we're going to have the Halloween 2018 review on this podcast, on the Halloween episode.
Also, Zach and I recorded a special gift for everybody. We're going to drop that before the episode as a little hype up. There's a couple people who might know what's already going on, but no spoilies.
They were there.
So look out for something to come out in our week off between this episode and the Halloween episode. Also, what we're going to talk about right now, on the Halloween episode, we are going to be collectively crowning the greatest horror movie of all time. So, me, Isaiah, and Zach, we've taken your guys' suggestions, and we've lowered it, I shouldn't say lowered it, but we've taken it down to the top 16. We're going to have a bracket. It's seeded 1 through 16. Once we got our 16 horror movies that are going to be in the tournament, we had to seed them. So I used their IMDb score because it's a little bit more mix of audience and critic. If there was a tie, I then went to their Metacritic score.
Oh, man, I didn't know you did that.
So
that makes me disappointed in some of these.
So that's how we ranked them 1 through 16, and we're going to go through those from 16, the bottom seeded movie, up to the top seeded movie for this tournament. So up first, let me get the fucking list.
I feel like
up.
this entire title category should just be called that heavily biased best horror movie.
What does that mean?
Because these are all heavily biased.
Alright, so I'm gonna start it out. I'm gonna open it up because this is one of the movies I've actually seen on the list. Thanksgiving. It's a spook movie, but it's based on November, so it's kind of like, yeah, you know, but it's still a horror movie.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a turkey. It's really bad. This movie's really good. It's
so
really
bad,
good,
it's good.
if you
It's
hate.
so good it's bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm glad this movie made the list because if it's probably going to get demolished in the first round. But even if it doesn't get anywhere in this tournament. I just want more people to watch this movie.
Yeah, I want people to experience this movie.
And then at number 15, we have Friday the 13th. Now, for the franchises, like Friday the 13th and other ones you'll see on this list, I tried to choose the one that was regarded as the best one in their franchise. I did a little bit of research. So for Friday the 13th, I went with Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. But really, for these franchises, we are doing individual movies, but you can kind of think of it as a whole. You know, the franchise as a whole. So at seed number 15, we have Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. How many Friday the 13th movies have you guys seen?
I've seen a total of 0.
Have you seen Freddy vs. Jason?
I've seen one.
Okay.
Does that count?
No.
That's like him asking if you've ever seen an Alien movie or a Predator movie, but I've seen Aliens vs. Predator. You're like, yeah, okay, I guess that counts. Yeah, I've seen one, and it was before I should have been watching horror movies, so can't wait to relive that trauma.
All right, Zach, you want the next one?
At number 14, I have the greatest horror movie on the list, in Grave Encounters.
Yeah, so we talked about Grave Encounters a lot before. It's your not favorite horror movie. This is your favorite movie, right, Zach?
This is one of my top 5 movies of all time.
I would say it's in my top 3, honestly.
Yeah,
it's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, again, go see it. It's one of those movies where it doesn't fully blow you away, but they do so many little things well that it's a great movie in that sense. The story's very good. Camera work's very good with what they're trying to accomplish. It was during the time of a lot of those very heavy camera sort of motion things, almost like the Cloverfield sort of S-type movies, but it still knocks it out of the water. Go see it.
I'm totally expecting this, maybe Thanksgiving as well, but more so this to be the movie that's lower seated on the bracket that's going to break through.
It's my Cinderella story.
And have some upsets. Or Isaiah, you can go ahead with the next one.
Yeah, so the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, are we doing the most recent? Because they remade it.
We're going to be doing the 2003 remake. So
Okay.
the one that's like the most popular. So with Jessica Biel, I think is the main actress. That's all I know about
That's
it.
all I know about it, too. There's a guy, he's got a chainsaw, he massacres.
Yeah.
Number 12, we have Nightmare on Elm Street. I went with Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, because that's I feel like when Freddy really hit his stride with these movies. But really, again, the franchise as a whole, how many Nightmare on Elm Street movies have you guys seen?
I've seen Freddy vs. Jason.
I've seen Freddy vs. Jason and then the spoof that Rick and Morty had.
Oh, does that count? I've seen that plenty of times. Does that count?
But yeah, obviously Nightmare on Elm Street is a huge horror franchise, so that was going to make the list.
All right. Number 11, we have Insidious. Out of they have 4 technically now, don't they, though?
Yes.
4, but we're going with the first one, which I'm assuming was the highest rated on IMDb. Probably the most iconic out of them all as well. If you haven't seen Insidious, you should also go see it. I don't know how spoilery we want to get with this.
No,
It's fucking like 8 years old.
Yeah.
I mean.
Okay, yeah, you should have seen this by now.
But yeah, Patrick Wilson's in it. James Wan, who's really famous now. This is one of his first bigger movies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen this, Isaiah?
No.
Okay,
Now we're knocking out of the park.
All right, Isaiah, so go ahead with the next movie.
Cabin in the Woods. This movie I have zero idea about.
What do you mean? This one.
Zach said that we've seen it together, but he lies.
We have seen this one together.
Was it while we were in BG? Because I blacked out the whole time. So.
So Cabin in the Woods is essentially a spoof of the horror genre. You have a bunch of teenagers going to a cabin in the woods, which is the setting of a lot of horror movies. But there's some twists and turns. Things aren't as they seem, and there's actually a corporation behind what's going on in every horror movie you see is the plot of this movie. And it's a ton of fun. It's kind of a horror comedy, not as much as like a Thanksgiving. But Chris Hemsworth is in the movie in a rare appearance before he was really famous as Thor. And I love this movie personally, so it'll be interesting to see how far that gets. The next one we have, one of my personal favorites, one that I hope goes far in this tournament, is Scream. Now, we went with the original Scream because it's the most iconic. It's the one that started it all. It kind of rebooted the slasher genre in the 90s. You had, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street were kind of done by this point.
Yeah.
And then Wes Craven comes back with Scream and reboots the slasher genre. So, what do you guys think of the Scream franchise?
Scream has emotionally scarred me. I watched it literally in the worst time in my life. as a developing child, and I still have to open up the shower curtain every time because I assume that there's going to be a guy in a scream mask with a knife ready to kill me when I piss.
Yeah,
so
I think this is probably on the list one of the most iconic movies, or at least the most iconic villains out of all of these, with being at Scream.
That, and I've probably seen Scary Movie 2 enough times
Oh,
for me
yeah.
to be like, what the?
There's probably parts of that I think are in the real Scream movie that are just part of that movie.
What we should have done is we should have just did the best scary movie.
No.
They're all bad.
Oh, bad.
Which was the one with Charlie Sheen?
The bad
Five?
one. The bad one.
That one actually scared
I think
me.
that was one where they're making fun of War of the Worlds, I think.
It was
Yeah.
War of the Worlds and Rings.
All right. So we
All
got
right, Zach,
this.
is Zach
All
you're
right,
up
we're
next?
going on to number 8, which is probably the most recent movie I think on here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In Heredity, which I also think this is going to be one like Grave Encounters, which a lot of people are not going to think is going to get very far, but I imagine this is going to be a top 4 movie.
Yeah, I struggled myself to put this on the list just because it's so new.
But it's
then,
so good.
Yeah, but then Alex is actually one that told me, hey, you should put this on here, and I was already thinking about putting it on. It did impress me. I think it impressed you as well, right,
Yeah.
Zach? And Isaiah,
I heard it sucks.
I'm going to give you the movie. You're going to need to watch it.
Wait, you still haven't seen this?
No.
I should have brought the movie. I'm going to give you the movie. Will you watch it if I give it to you?
Yeah, I'll watch it if
Okay.
you give it to me.
All right.
I'll
This is
watch
the one
it if you
movie.
give it to Isaiah.
This is the one movie. This is the one movie. If you're going to watch a movie that you haven't seen, I would say this one. There's a lot of these are good.
So,
Okay.
coming up in the 7th seed, the lucky number 7, The Conjuring Part 2, or the second one. I can tell you I've seen a Conjuring movie. It could have possibly been the second one.
So this was the one that had the nun in it.
Yeah.
You did see this
This
one?
was
I'm
the
pretty
England
sure
one.
I've seen this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a nun in it. Oh, man, I'm really bad at movies.
And it leads to a bad future movie.
Yeah, I would say this movie kind of represents the entire Conjuring universe as it is right now. One of the more modern horror movies on here. The next one we have is a pretty recent one too, but for me, this may be my pick to win the whole thing.
Oof.
And that's It, 2017.
It.
At seed number 6. It was a movie that, as a young adult, was the first time I was genuinely terrified in a movie theater watching this movie. Have you guys seen it?
That's the one where he's in the sewer, he's a clown, and he's got blood.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
At number 5, we have Poltergeist.
And it's not the shitty remake. It's the original.
I didn't know there was an original.
This was such a great idea on paper. I'm excited for it to blow up in our faces.
It'll be really fun. It'll be really fun. You want to go next?
Yeah, so Halloween, not the one that we're going to see this week, but the one that originally came out. This is the one that we're about to see is the extension of that one, correct?
Correct, a direct sequel
Direct
to
sequel
the first one.
to the first one.
Isaiah, have you seen the original Halloween?
No.
Okay.
So I should probably see that before I see this one, right?
We have some
I mean-
homework.
I mean, I've had a traumatic experience with the character from Halloween.
Michael Myers?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it involves your brother, but it's fine.
All right, Isaiah, listen. Me and Alex have reviewed the whole series.
I'll
You can just watch our reviews. You'll be fine.
All right, I'll just watch the review of the first one.
And then at number 3, this is a movie that's really... It's on here because of how classic it is, but I don't expect it to make it far in this tournament because of our lack of experience with it, and that's Night of the Living Dead. Arguably one of the first horror movies back in the, I think it was 1968.
60s.
Yeah, and it's like the first zombie movies as we know zombies today, but none of us have seen it, so I don't think it's getting anywhere.
I've seen a play of it.
Wow.
All right,
There
but
we
it's
go.
going up against your favorite horror movie in the first round, so it's
And
not
going to get screened.
And then you want to go ahead, Zach?
At number 2, we have The Exorcist. Exorcist?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
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 That word.
So this was, I mean, anytime a good horror movie comes out, what do people say, right? The Exorcist of this generation. That's what everyone says. So, again, this movie, it's number 2 seed, held in really, really high regard. Have you guys seen it?
I have. This is probably my favorite classic horror movie.
I've seen the concept done a lot of times, so I assume I've seen it.
Little girl gets possessed, exorcism?
Yeah.
Crawls like a spider.
Well, this
Yeah.
was the original.
Nice.
And I'll go ahead and finish off with number 1. This was a surprise to me. This is a great movie. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a huge horror movie, but it's clearly the best rated movie because it's a #1 seed, and that's John Carpenter's 1982 version of The Thing.
I didn't know that they gave specific movies to the Fantastic Four guys, so I'm excited to watch it.
You will be disappointed. And
be excited for me and Alex just yelling versus thanks killing versus The Thing. It's going to happen to us.
So there you go. You have the #1 through #16 seed. We're going to release the actual bracket the same day this goes up. So look out for that on our Twitter. Fill out the bracket yourself. So let us know what your favorite horror movie is of these 16 seeds. You guys have anything to say?
Yeah, so good luck on trying to sway my opinion that Grave Encounters is the greatest horror movie of all time.
Yeah,
Isaiah is going to be the swing vote for each of these art matchups.
I'm gonna bring a coin.
We want to thank American Spirits for their song Blanket Forts for our intro and outro. Follow us on Twitter at Hooligan_radio, Instagram at Hooligan.radio. And I'll kick it over to Zach for his plugs.
Yep, you can find me at ZachC_I_know it on Twitter.
Yeah, you can also find Zach as my co-streamer when I play Hunt. And you can find him somewhere over in the PlayStation realm playing that game he abandoned me on.
Come find me at that.
You can find me at PHP_iSlaya. I'm on IG, Twitter. I don't think my Facebook is linked to that in any way. You can find me at iSlaya on Twitch. I might be playing some COD, might be playing some Hunt, might be playing some indie games. Who knows? But I'm just living it right now. But I don't think that there's anything else I have to plug. Oh, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion on my YouTube channel. I actually have to play that tomorrow, so we'll get some more episodes of that. It's pretty good. We had some pretty good talks on it, so check that out. And stay tuned for next week. You'll get a special surprise from Zach and I, and some special guests.
And you can find me at _Joshua Singh _ on Twitter and Instagram. Joshua Singh Reviews on YouTube. Check out my Halloween reviews. I just finally finished my MCU rankings after 7 long months. And that's why you don't commit to stuff.
You know what my favorite Halloween mystery is? Remember that, was it 2 years ago when those fucking guys with clown masks were fucking running around?
Yeah.
Was that viral marketing for it, or was it like actual insane people being insane?
I think there are a lot of factors. I think some of it might have been viral marketing.
I think that it started off as viral marketing for it, and then there was a lot of copycats.
Well,
I don't know, dude.
I think there was a lot of memes too. Like once it became a thing, like I saw so many videos of like people hitting people that are dressed as clowns and running over in their car and like beating with bats. Like those were all fake videos for the sake of the meme, but that was weird.
That was a weird time.
There were a few creepy videos.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Weird times out here in the Halloween month.
You know, It Chapter 2 comes out next year. Hopefully there's not a repeat of that.
Yeah,
I think I'll join them, though. Can't beat them.
Can't beat them, join them.
Give me a clown mask running around with a machete.
I'm not content with the